Harihi Om. Gita Prastavikam. Rather, why I like to study Gita and Sanskritam together by S.L. Abhyankar. This Gita Prastavikam comprises of the following parts. Parts 1, learned commentaries, etc. I have actually already recorded parts 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I will proceed to recording of parts 5, Mangalacharanam, part 6, Namanavakyam, Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha, and part 7, Gitakhya Prasangaha and Anukramanika of Gitadhyayaha. So part 5, Mangalacharanam. Most commentaries, even by the learned, start with the solemn humility of offering respects to the deity Krishna, to the original author Vyasa, to the main work Mahabharatam. All this is called as Mangalacharanam, Mangalam Acharanam, pious conduct. The shlokaha which are popularly recited as Mangalacharanam when starting study and or recitation of Gita are Namostu te Vyasa Vishala Buddhe Phullara Vindayatapatra Netra Yena Tvaya Bharata Taila Purna Prajvalito Jnanamaya Pradipaha. Here Namostu te Vyasa means Vyasa te Namaha Astu. May obeisance be unto you, who is Vishala Buddhe, has great intellect, who has eyes, netra, spread out, phulla, like the leaves, patra, of a lotus, aravinda, in full bloom, ayata. You are the one who lighted prajvalitaha, the lamp, pradipaha, of knowledge, jnanamaya, amply filled, purunaha, with the oil, taila, of the epic Bharata. There are 11 letters in each quarter. This is in Upajati Chandaha. Now next one. Prapanna parijataya totrave traikapanaye jnana mudraya krishnaya gitamrutaduhe namaha. Here Krishnaya namaha, obeisances to Krishna, who is eulogized with the adjectives Prapanna parijataya, one who bears out everything that befalls, Prapanna. Totra vetraikapanaye, one who holds in one hand, Ekapani, the all-controlling gourd, Totra, and the flute, Vetra, who has the facial mudra of Jnana, knowledge, and one who milches, Duha, the nectar, Amrutam, of Gita. There are 8 letters in each quarter. This is in Anushtup Chandaha. Next one, Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kausachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Here again, Krishnam Vande means obeisances to Krishna, who is eulogized with the adjectives Vasudeva Sutta, son of Vasudeva, who is Deva, God himself, who vanquished Mardanam of Kamsa and Chanura and the like. Also gave utmost joy, Paramananda, to Devaki, his mother, who is Jagadguru, teacher for all the world. There are 8 letters in each quarter. This is in Anushtup Chanda. Next one is Bhishma Drona Tatajayadratha Jalam Gandhara Nilotpalam Shalyagrahavati Krupena Vahani Karanena Velakulam Ashwathama Vikarna Ghora Makara Duryodhana Vartini Sotirna Khalu Pandavairana Nadi Kaivartaka Keshavaha. This again is eulogy of Keshavaha, the Kaivartakaha boatman, by whose help and guidance Pandavaha went across Uttirna, the stormy river of battle, Rananadi, which had Bhishma Drona as a tata, river banks, Jayadratha as the Jala, stormy waters, people from Gandhara as the Nilotpala, blue lotuses, lotuses which are not bright and white, people of unclean, vicious minds, Shalya as the Graha, partaker, Krupena with the Krupaha as Vahani, fluid force, Karanena with Karanaha as the Velakula, anxiety of time, Ashwathama Vikarna Ghora Makara with Ashwathaman and Vikarnaha as the Ghora Makaraha, ferocious alligators, Duryodhana Vartini with Duryodhana and his kith and kin as the swirling ponds, Avartini. There are 19 letters in each quarter. This is in Shardula Vikriditam Chandaha. Next one, Parasharyavachas Saroja Mamalam Gītārtha Gandhotkatam Nana Kyanaka Kesaram Harikatha Sambodhana Bodhitam Loke Sajjana Shatpadairaharaha Pepiyamanam Muda Bhuyad Bharata Pankajam Kalimala Pradvamsina Shreyase. This shloka is my favorite for its awesome poetic beauty. It likens the epic Bharata, the Parasharya Vachaha, authorship Vachaha of Parashar, the son of Muni Parashar. Sarojam Amalam, spotless Amalam, lotus Sarojam. Gītārtha Gandhotkatam, laden with Utkatam, fragrance, Gandhaha of Gītārtha. Nana Kyanaka Kesaram, having innumerable Kesara filaments of Nana, very many, Akyanaka episodes and intertwined events. Harikatha Sambodhana Bodhitam, putting forth Abodhitam, the essence of deliverance, Sambodhanam, by Harihi himself, also by his biography Harikatha, the nectar of which, lotus, is merrily muda, extracted again and again, pepiyamanam, day in and day out, aharaha, by shatpadaihi, the honey bees, that is the sajjanaha in the world loke. Many such lotus, pankajam, as the epic Bharata, may such lotus, pankajam, as the epic Bharata, be bhuyat, remover, pradvamsi, of the malaha of Kalihi, and for our naha, benevolence, shreyase. There are again 19 letters in each quarter. This also is in Shardula Vikriditam Chandaha. Next one is Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat krupa tamaham vande paramananda madhavam. Here also aham vande, I pay respects to tam, Paramananda, bliss bestowing, Madhavam, whose grace, yat krupa, would make karoti, a dumb, mukam, to be talkative, vachalam, would give strength to a lame, pangum, such that he would climb, langhayate, a mountain, girim. There are again 8 letters in each quarter. This is in Anushtup Chanda. And yet one more, Shantakaram Bhujagashayanam Padmanabham Suresham Vishwadharam Gaganasadrusham Meghavarnam Shubhangam Lakshmikantam Kamalanayanam Yogivirdhyanagamyam Vande Vishnum Bhavavayaram Sarvalokaikanaatham. Here Vishnu Vande, I pay respects to Vishnu, he who pervades the universe. Vishnu actually in Sanskrit by its etymology means Vishnu, wish to enter, Nuhu, one who has the characteristics of entering, pervading. So Vishnu, he who pervades the universe, who Shantakara, has put at rest all forms. Bhujaka Shayana, sleeps on a serpent. Padmanabha, has a lotus emanating from his navel. Suresha, is commandant of all gods. Sura Isha. Vishwadhara, supports the universe. Gagana Sadrusham, expansive as the sky, Meghavarana, has the hue of a cloud, eager to quench the thirst. Shubhanga is benevolence personified. Lakshmikanta is splendorous. Kamalanayana has lotus-like eyes. Yogibhir Dhyanagamya, meditated upon by the yoginaha. Bhavabhayaharam is remover of fear of life's travails. Sarvalokaikanatha is the one and only severe and supreme of all worlds. There are 17 letters in each quarter. This is in Mandakranta Chanda. Yet another, Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutastunvanti Divyaistavai Vedai Sangapadakramopanishadair Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavasthita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginu Yasyantanna Vidussura Suragana Devaya Tasmai Namaha. Here, Tasmai Devaya Namaha. Obeisances be to that God, Yam, whom, the ensemble of Brahma, Varuna, Indra, Rudra, Maruta, praise, Stunvanti, with Divyehi, esoteric, Stavaihi, eulogies. Yam, whom, Samagaha, hymn singers, Gayanti, sing, Vedaihi, Vedic chants, replete with Sang, basic text, Pada, implicit words, Krama, syntactical sequences. Upanishad, the philosophical undertones. Yam, whom yoginaha see eye to eye, pashyanti, when meditating, dhyanavasthita tatgatena manasa, on him. Yasya, whose antam, innate truth, naviduhu, is not known even to surasura ganaha, the gods and demons who are said to be capable of transcending invisibility. Even they could not see him. There are 19 letters in each quarter. This is again in Shardula Vikritam Chanda. Shubhamastu. So interesting. Mangalacharanam. Now, Namana Vakyam, part number 6. Om Shri Paramatmane Namah. Although all shlokas of Mangalacharanam have obeisances, Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha is a unique Namana Vakyam of Gita. Actually, in Gita, rather in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, there is Sri Krishna Bhagavan, an integral part of it. But in the Namana Vakyam, Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha, obeisances are offered to Shri Paramatma. Is it so to suggest that study of Gita should be to understand what Shri Paramatma is? Gurudev Ranade seems to have thoughtfully chosen the title of his book as Gita as the philosophy of God realization. One may also consider that Shri Paramatma is not a distinct entity, but is rather Shri Paramatma Tattvam, a fundamental principle pervading the entire universe. This brings to mind a beautiful Pratasmarana Stotram by Adi Shankaracharya. The first shloka is Pratasmarami Hrudi Samspuradatma Tattvam Satchit Sukham Paramahamsa Gatim Turiyam Yaswapna Jagara Sushuptima Vaiti Nityam Tad Brahma Nishkalamaham Nacha Bhuta Sangha. Note Prataha, in the early morning, rather when it is dawn. Smarami, I recall. Atma Tattvam, which reverberates in my heart, Hrudi Samspurat, which is Satchit Sukham, the ultimate bliss, which is Paramahamsa Gatim, the gateway, the royal highway to Turiyam, the fourth state of consciousness. I am Aham, that Nishkalam, steadfast Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi, which Yat, always, Nityam, denounces, Avaiti, the three states, Swapna, Jagara, Sushupti. So, Aham Nacha, I am not, Bhuta Sangaha, a mere conglomeration of elements. Understanding Atma Tattvam seems to be a matter of spiritual experience, right? Maybe the study of Gita is that spiritual journey. The Namana Vakyam Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha offers obeisances that may that spiritual journey be elevating. Shubhamastu. Now part 7. Gitakhya Prasanga and Anukramanika of Gita Adhyaya. Note Gitakhya Prasanga. Gita iti akhyam yasya saha prasanga. Akhyam, name. The prasanga, the instance. Gita iti akhyam yasya, known as Gita. As is well known, the armies of Kauravaha and Pandavaha had descended onto the battleground to decide who between Kauravaha and Pandavaha should take over the rule of the kingdom of Kuruvamshaha, which had its capital at Hastinapuram. The incumbent ruler Dhritarashtra was blind by birth and had grown old. He was himself instated to the throne not by any eligibility of his own, but when the previous ruler, his own brother Pandu, had retired to the forest due to a curse. Dhritarashtra had assigned Yudhishthira, the eldest among Kaurava and Pandava, to be the king's representative at the annual royal ceremony at Varnavrata or Varnavrata. Duryodhana saw this to be the foreboding of naming Yudhishthira to be the heir to the throne. Duryodhana, the eldest of the 100 sons of Dhritarashtra, considered that he was the rightful heir to the throne, being the son of the incumbent ruler. He resorted to all means, fair and foul, mostly to foul means, to eliminate Pandava. So Duryodhana got the architect Purochana to build a house of wax. The scheme was to burn the Pandavaha alive. The Pandavaha escaped the house of wax, but roamed incognito and returned to the palace when things were safe. Later, Dhritarashtra had offered a forest land to Yudhishthira. There, Yudhishthira, along with his 4 brothers, made the forest land into a flourishing habitat and had set up a capital at Indraprastha, thus proving his skills of administration and his eligibility to be the heir to the throne. The palace at Indraprastha was built by the celestial architect Mayaha or Mayaha. Duryodhana, on a visit to Indraprastha, stepped into a room seemingly having flooring of designer tiles. Actually, it was a pool of water which looked like flooring. Duryodhana fell down into the pool. Draupadi, wife of Pandavaha, passed a derogatory remark. Son of a blind father also seems to be blind. This was an unsavory insult. Duryodhana invited Yudhishthira to a game of dice. Shakuni, the maternal uncle of Duryodhana, played with dice which would obey his command. Pandavaha lost the game badly, losing everything which was put as stakes, including Draupadi. She vehemently argued that putting her at stakes was unfair and improper. Although Yudhishthira was her husband, he cannot be allowed to put her at stake. Duryodhana and his brothers tried to offend her dignity. Also. Sri Krishna answered her prayers and cast a magic spell of unending cloth. Later, Dhritarashtra intervened and ordered the game to be played afresh. Duryodhana put forth the condition that the losers will resort to forest for 12 years and shall stay incognito for the 13th year. If the losers are somehow detected, they will undergo one more similar cycle. Pandavaha lost the new game also and spent the 13 years as per the condition. Even after Pandava successfully fulfilled the conditions of loss of the game of dice, Duryodhana was not willing to let Pandava return to the palace and to the capital. He challenged Pandavaha that he will not give them even as much land as will stand on the point of a needle, unless and until he be defeated in a battle. It was during this battle that, when conches were blown to declare the beginning of the battle, and accordingly the clash of the swords had commenced, Arjuna requested his charioteer Sri Krishna to take the chariot to the middle of the two armies. Sri Krishna obliged, but suddenly, on casting a glance at both the armies, Arjuna happened to see only his kith and kin and no enemy. He was overcome with grief at the thought that fighting the battle meant being the killer of one's own kith and kin, and in turn a sinner. He was drained of any strength or urge to fight. Sri Krishna sort of cast a spell to hold all the fighting in a state of suspense, and rendered this Srimad Bhagavad Gita to motivate Arjuna back to fight the battle. Srimad Bhagavad Gita is a song because Sri Krishna lends his advice in a soft, smoothing tone. Srimad Bhagavad Gita is a dialogue, not an argument. Srimad Bhagavad Gita is a digest of the science and philosophy of motivation, which Lokmanya Tilak calls as Karma Yoga Shastra. Srimad Bhagavad Gita is a digest of the science of psychology and teaches how to keep one's cool in situations of turmoil, anguish, inability to make right decisions, of how to control the wavering mind. The quote Sarvadharman Parityajya in Srimad Bhagavad Gita 18-66 is a diktat to rise above conventions, dharmaha, of interpersonal relations and adapt oneself to the situation at hand. Srimad Bhagavad Gita is the elixir to cleanse one's character and prepare oneself for final beatification. Paramam Shreyaha. The philosophy of Srimad Bhagavad Gita is laid out in 18 chapters. Arjuna Vishada Yogo Nama Prathamodhyaya, Sankhya Yogo Nama Dvitiyodhyaya, Karma Yogo Nama Trutiyodhyaya, Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yogo Nama Chaturthodhyaya, Karma Sannyasa Yogo Nama Panchamodhyaya, Atma Sanyama Yogo Nama Shashthodhyaya, Buddhi Yogo Nama Saptamodhyaya, Akshara Brahma Yogo Nama Ashtamodhyaya, Raja Vidya Rajaguhya Yogo Nama Navamodhyaya, Vibhuti Yogo Nama Dashamodhyaya, Vishwarupa Darshana Yogo Nama Ekadashodhyaya, Bhakti Yogo Nama Dvadashodhyaya, Kshetra Kshetratnya Vibhaga Yogo Nama Trayodashodhyaya, Gunatraya Vibhaga Yogo Nama Chaturdashodhyaya, Purushottama Yogo Nama Panchadashodhyaya, Daivasura Sampad Vibhaga Yogo Nama Shodashodhyaya, Shraddhatraya Vibhaga Yogo Nama Saptadashodhyaya, Moksha Sannyasa Yogo Nama Ashtadashodhyaya. There is also a thought, whether there is a sequential thought in these Ashtadasha Adhyaya. It merits appreciation that Lokmanya Tilak thought it good to write a 42 pages long essay on Adhyaya Sangatihi. In my own deliberation, it once occurred that concern of Arjuna all along was Param Shreya, final beatitude, not only for himself, but for anyone and everyone, and for society at large. This is evidenced by his mentions. Nacha Shreyo no Pashyami Hatva Swajana Mahave. See 1-31. Nacha Shreya. Yat Shreyasyan Nishitam Bruhitan Me. 2-7. Note, Yat Shreya. That what is Shreya. Tadekam Vadanishchitya Yena Shreyoham Apnayam. 3-2. Everywhere the word Shreya is mentioned. It is also logical to take that the pathway to Param Shreya, final beatitude, is first cleanse the vices, next enrich virtuosity, 3 set the firm foundation of faith, Shraddha, in the divinity, nourish Bhakti, that is perseverant, unflinching devotion, achieve stability, Pratisthita Prajna, which will not be disturbed by any enticements, distractions, anxieties, desires, etc. Good actions, connoted as yajnaha tapansi danani, must be discharged. Strive to be equanimous unto all creation. Seek the grace of the Supreme and submit everything unto Him. This is in a way Ashtanga Yoga for Param Shreya. These 8 points can be studied in detail from the following portions of Gita. Cleanse the vices. See, Daivar Saswara Sampad Vibhaga Yogo Nam Shodashodhyayaha, especially 12 shlokaha from 16-07 to 16-18. Detail how vicious persons behave and in turn how one should not behave. Enrich virtuosity. Virtues are sort of enumerated in 12-13 to 12-20, also in 13-7 to 13-11, 16-1 to 3, and in 18-42, 43, 44. There are some repetitions in these 19 shlokas. Set the firm foundation of faith, Shraddha, in the divinity. See, Shraddhatraya Vibhaga Yogo Nama Ashtadoshodhyaya, 28 shlokas. Nourish bhakti, that is perseverant, unflinching devotion. See, Bhakti Yogo Nama Dvadashodhyaya, 20 shlokas. How to do meditation is also detailed in 6 shlokas, 06:10 to 06:15. Achieve stability, pratisthita prajna, which will not be disturbed by any enticements, distractions, anxieties, desires, etc. See 18 shlokas, 02-55 to 02-72. Good actions, connoted by as yajnaha tapansi danani. The concept of yajnaha and their various modes are detailed in 7 shlokaha, 04-24 to 04-30. Various modes of tapansi are detailed in 17-14, 15, 16. Danani are detailed in 17-20, 21, 22. Strive to be equanimous unto all creation. This has been advocated in many shlokaha, particularly in 4 shlokaha, 06:29 to 06:32. Seek the grace of the Supreme and submit everything to Him. The quote, Mamekam Sharanam Braja in 18-66 is the diktat. Although Ashtanga Yoga for Param Shreya can be taken to have been covered in these 114 shlokaha, a good student may benefit from the study of all 700 shlokaha. More the merrier, adhikasya adhikam phalam is the proverbial wisdom. I hope that this Gita Prastavikam would lead the reader to embark on study of Gita and Sanskritam together right from Prathamodhyayaha. Shubhamastu.